Looking at the 4-hour chart, I am liking that we're not just getting a waterfall after breaking this very significant support that I was talking about since June 23rd. Very important level there. Quite often what will happen is if a market is going to continue, it will get this fake out little dip down below the range before just basically blasting off through resistance with a little bit of momentum. So that is something that I'm still considering. But I am also a little more open to the idea of potentially seeing a more bearish move, you guys, and possibly even seeing some of my lower trend lines I have mapped out in white here. You can see I have a couple different ones coming from different points. Just going to exact wicks, just seeing that, you know, I was watching this trend line here, but then the market front ran that a little bit. Too many people were watching it. Then you see we get this new trend line here. So there is absolutely the possibility that since we broke this support level, maybe we do get some kind of a move down to one of these support lines, or maybe even just dump a lot lower. Obviously, we're going to have to see how the market plays out as it is right now. Just looking at a couple possibilities. What I do like is the fact that we are actually getting back into this yellow box here. It was green when I had it as support. Now I have it as yellow because it's not necessarily confirmed resistance yet, but it is something to watch for. So I'm not sure which way this box is going to go at this point. So very curious to see what Bitcoin does here. If we end up just blasting right back through this box, reclaiming it kind of as support instead of, getting this resistance shut down, get some kind of a rejection here, that's something to be careful of right now. But if we can get back above this box and reclaim it as support, especially, guys, if we can get back above this resistance up here, I'm just going to mark that in red, just because obviously we had our, just as far as this little swing here goes on the 4-hour, we obviously have this low here. Well, actually, we had this low, we set a lower low, so this was our lower high on this little structure of this micro swing. Then we set another lower low, but the lower high didn't change at all. We just got rejected at that same level anyways. So as far as this structure goes, I think that resistance is going to be an important one to get above. But I really do think that even reclaiming this yellow support box would be very good for the price of Bitcoin. It would just look to me like there is absolutely the possibility that this move to the downside was just a fake out, just a bit of a bear trap. So we're going to have to see. I was mentioning in the Discord just before starting this stream that I did start a position. I started one right here. I mentioned it in real time here. Basically, I was just looking for this little double bottom here. Just a very tight stop loss. Basically, I had my stop loss just below this demand zone here, which the ALGO 3 has pointed out, where we had basically just some big demand at this level. So I just kept my stop loss just below that. As I started the stream, I mentioned I bumped my stop loss up to break even, and I did even close out a quarter of my position with this W here along the 5-minute trend. Since I was just looking at this as a scalp, I don't want to take a loss at this point. Also, there's a bit of a change of very micro structure, but if we end up closing below this this support right here, then it's possible that we're just going to keep dumping. So just to play things safe and knowing that I'm distracted right now with this stream and everything, I did update my stop loss to break even, and like I said, closed a quarter of my position when we got this signal here. So no risk on that trade right now. Another reason I was watching this level is obviously this is the bottom of that yellow box that I had mapped out on the 4-hour, just taking this whole kill zone basically. I did change this after we broke down below it because I just dropped it down a little bit since we had this fake out back here. So this whole wick zone basically starting back here and ending all the way down there, making that whole box just potential resistance basically. But the fact that we got back up above it and got that little double bottom, I wanted to swing at that just in case we are just getting into this box and reclaiming it, something like this. Obviously doesn't have to happen. That's why I'm playing things safe right now, because you guys, we are trading into resistance here. I know it's not necessarily smart to be longing into resistance, and this old support could absolutely be resistance, but that's why I'm playing things very safe, taking partial profits very quickly, updating my stop loss very quickly. But we aren't really getting a harsh rejection here so far. Obviously there's, well, about 45 minutes left in this candle or so. Anything can happen. It could very easily flip red, showing just a bit of a rejection here. I may consider scalping some shorts then, probably only if it lines up with my W strategy, basically. But other than that, yeah, like I was saying, on the 1 minute, we did get this little double bottom. Looks like I'm probably going to get stopped out on the other 3/4 of my position here very quickly. But yeah, just a nice, easy little scalp. It would be nice if it turned into a runner, but we don't always get what we want, so we're going to have to see what happens here. Let's just hop over to a few different time frames. Actually, let's see what the MDX algo is saying on different time frames. So let's bring the algo back up here. I had mentioned that there is this shift in direction. Obviously, we had our W's trending to the upside on the top W's anyways, and we did get this lower one here, which was an absolutely beautiful sell signal. I never did take it, but that was just a bit of a warning that, hey, the trend may be shifting. So that is something to consider still. Even though we got this bullish W down here, it is technically a lower low. So something to consider is these W's on the 4 hour have started a downtrend. Doesn't have to mean it's going to continue. If we do end up getting some kind of a pump, also something I want to mention, this downward slope in red resistance, what I would like to see is a third touch of that followed by a smaller rejection and then get a break of that line, because I personally, when I'm playing breakouts and looking at trend lines, I don't really consider them valid until they've had 3 exact rejections followed by a close beyond that trend line. Basically, that's when I'm starting to give a little more weight to trend lines. As it stands right now, there's only 2 touches, so if we just blast right through this, I mean, yes, it is possible that, hey, we're getting back above that yellow box. That is beautiful, but I would honestly rather see us get a third touch point on this trend line before breaking out. I think that would just be some added confluence that it's a valid trend line, and we may see some kind of a falling wedge breakout from there. Actually, speaking of that, I just want to check if I can map out some kind of a falling wedge here with 3 touch points. This is just totally freestyle, but even something like that, yeah, you know what? That's pretty darn accurate going back to here. That does look like a nice little falling wedge. So that could, in theory, like that, even though we got that breakdown of our support box, we could just be in a bit of a falling wedge, which you guys probably know that that's generally a bullish pattern. It absolutely doesn't have to be. Obviously patterns can fail, they can break the other way, but generally speaking, that's a bullish pattern. Just basically we had this big run up. The sell-off is more of just a correction more than a panic sell-off. It's just kind of, you know, trending down slowly. And then when you get that buying pressure coming back into the market, then obviously that's where you get your bullish breakout. So that is a pattern that I am going to be interested in watching. I'm going to leave that up on my chart here. But yeah, like I said, it's absolutely possible that even though we're in a bullish pattern like that, we could still just bounce around setting lower lows and stuff like that. It's just something to be a little bit, just to be aware of that pattern more than anything, right? Let's see what's the daily saying lately. We do have this big red box, the indicator it has mapped out. 2 of them actually, and those are supply zones, so there is people offloading a lot of crypto in that area. That basically ranges from the bottom of my old support, new resistance box, all the way up to that red line that I was talking about earlier, just on this downswing, basically the lower high there. And this is on a daily time frame, so that's quite significant there. In yesterday's stream, I had mentioned that one bullish case for Bitcoin here is the W's. So on the 4 hour, I just pointed out that they shifted to the downside, but on the daily chart, they're actually still going to the upside. I mean, we have this W, we got a higher high, and then from there we set another higher high. I know this is a repeat from yesterday, but and then same with on the bottom, we set, I mean, this, we did have this change in shift, this little bit of a shift, but obviously it doesn't line up with the tops also being in a downswing, so it was more of a warning rather than a sell signal. And they are still technically just trending to the upside. I mean, we can go all the way back to this W back here, set a higher one, yeah, some higher W's. So to see us pull back on the daily a little bit with all the W's still trending to the upside, that would be absolutely beautiful. I would love to see some sort of a higher low W come into play on the daily chart. I think that would be a very nice signal moving forward. Put us in a good place for at least the midterm, in my opinion. But like I said, guys, just a few things to be cautious of. Another one here is the potential that, you know, there's a potential very bullish pattern here, just a massive ascending triangle, basically. And I mean, if you take a measured move of that, if we are so lucky to get a perfect measured move like that, out of the top, basically, there, I mean, you're starting to look at a target, and it actually lines up pretty well, if I take it from the top of that triangle, pretty well with the top of this supply zone, right around $43,000. So that could be a very big breakout if we do end up getting that kind of a breakout. Something to be cautious of is there's also the possibility that this is not an ascending triangle and it's more of a rising wedge, which is typically a bearish pattern. Doesn't have to be. But again, just typically speaking, that's more of a bearish pattern. Just because we did have this failed break here of this horizontal resistance here, my red line, we obviously broke above it, but just kind of a fake out, went straight back down. So being that we got that fake out, I'm just mapping out a new trend line there that, you know, there is the possibility that we just get some kind of, even if we get a bounce, we get some sort of a third touch point on this, or even just a failed break again, and then get a big downside move after that. I think that would fool a lot of people, and that could absolutely be in the horizon. But again, these are just theories at this point. I'm not trading based on the daily chart or the weekly chart, anything like that. I'm generally watching smaller time frames, but I like to just have just be open to a few possibilities so I don't get blindsided too bad when things happen on the smaller moves. So just a few things I'm watching on the larger time frames there. Anyways, friends, that's about the bulk of my analysis from the live stream I just did with the MDX ALGO community. I uploaded this shorter version, but if you also want to check out some degen scalping and shorter time frame live analysis, there's a link down below for the full live stream as well. Obviously, none of this has been financial advice. Always do your own research, form your own opinions, but if you appreciated this quick summary video from the full live stream, please do me a favor, hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't. And if you want to be a part of these live streams and other live coaching events in MDX Crypto's VIP Discord, as well as having access to my favorite indicators on TradingView, there's a 15% discount referral link down below as well to join. And with that, I'm out. Stay safe, my friends. Peace.